Today, I'd like to share with you a secret of life. Now, I don't know that it's a big secret, but one of the things we've discovered is that there's a skill that is essential for almost everyone. The skill is the ability to ask for and accept feedback from others. Feedback is critical, and I want to demonstrate how important it is. We did a study with a group of leaders, and we measured them on their ability to ask for feedback, that one capability. We looked at the bottom 10%, the worst leaders. These leaders were terrible, and they rarely asked for feedback. When we measured their leadership effectiveness, they were at the 17th percentile. We then looked at people in the middle. They were about in the 30th percentile in terms of their effectiveness at asking for feedback. We found that they were about average in terms of their leadership effectiveness. They ranked at the 50th percentile. When we looked at those who were in the top 10%, we found out that they were at the 83rd percentile in terms of their leadership effectiveness. There's an absolute clear correlation between asking for feedback and your effectiveness as a leader. We also did this same study with individual contributors, and the results were almost exactly the same between the two groups. It appears that asking others for feedback has a profound effect on a person's ability to be successful. So why is feedback so helpful? Well, oftentimes we fail to see what is perfectly obvious to others. A few years ago, I met with a leader, and he set the mark for the first percentile on his listening skills. I asked him, what was your reaction when you first saw that data? And he looked at me and he said, they're wrong. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? They're wrong. He said, well, people don't think I'm listening, but I've really worked hard on being able to do two things at once. And I've actually found that I'm very good at listening and doing something else at the same time. So I regularly type on my computer, and someone comes to my office, and I say, go ahead and talk. And they talk, and I hear every word. What he didn't understand is listening skills is not only the ability to hear what people say, but it's the ability to communicate that you've heard it. So he was doing one, but not the other. So what was perfectly obvious to other people, he wasn't listening, wasn't obvious to him. Now, people are oftentimes not very accurate in their self-perceptions. We've measured this. We've looked at your ability to predict your own effectiveness versus the ability of other people to predict what you were good at or bad at. Here's the results of that study. We found that bosses were actually the best at predicting your strengths and weaknesses, followed by direct reports, peers, and others. Guess who the worst person is at predicting your strengths and weaknesses? You're right. It's you yourself. And in fact, the person themselves were only half as accurate as any other rater group. Now, why is that? Why are people so inaccurate in predicting their effectiveness? Well, unfortunately, our good intentions don't really matter. They don't really count, and people can't really tell what you were intending to do. So, here's my recommendations for you. Take some time and gather some feedback. Ask others for feedback. When you ask, the nature of the relationship changes. The second thing I'd encourage you to do is encourage other people to be honest with you, to tell you not what you want to hear, but what you ought to hear. The third thing is, once you've gathered enough data, look at it together and find an issue you can improve and then change it. Good luck asking others for feedback. Thank you.